All right, we're on the last chapter of what you need to do for anointing Saul as king in chapter 17 of Daring Deliverers. We were to read 1 Samuel 8 through 12, and we're on chapter 12. Okay, chapter 12, Samuel's farewell speech. That's not good. If you're saying a farewell speech, that means you're pushing up daisies. If you don't know what that means, ask your parents. They do. Okay. Chapter 12, it's on page 426. Samuel said to all Israel, I have listened to everything you said to me and have set a king over you. Now you have a king as your leader. As for me, I am old and gray, and my sons are here with you. I have been your leader from my youth until this day. Here I stand. Testify against me in the presence of the Lord and his anointed. Whose ox have I taken? Whose donkey have I taken? Whom have I cheated? Whom have I oppressed? From whose hand have I accepted a bribe to make me shut my eyes? If I have done any of these things, I will make it right. You have not cheated or oppressed us, they replied. You have not taken anything from anyone's hand. Samuel said to them, The Lord is witness against you, and also his anointed is witness this day, that you have not found anything in my hand. He is witness, they said. Then Samuel said to the people, It is the Lord who appointed Moses and Aaron and brought your ancestors up out of Egypt. Now then, stand here, because I am going to confront you with evidence before the Lord as to all the righteous acts performed by the Lord for you and your ancestors. So Samuel's going out with a bang. He's reminding all the Israelites everything that the Lord has done for his people, whom he loves and cares about deeply, yet they keep forgetting, right? Verse 8, After Jacob entered Egypt, they cried to the Lord for help. And the Lord sent Moses and Aaron, who brought your ancestors out of Egypt and settled them in this place. But they forgot the Lord their God, so he sold them into the hand of Sisera, the commander of the army of Hazor, into the hands of the Philistines, and the king of Moab, who fought against them. They cried out to the Lord and said, We have sinned. We have forsaken the Lord and served the Baals and Ashtoreths, right, which are the gods and goddesses, the foreign ones of, whatever. There's a list of them. But now deliver us from the hands of our enemies, and we will serve you. Then the Lord sent Jerubbaal, Barak, Jephthah, and Samuel, and he delivered you from the hands of your enemies all around you so that you lived in safety. Right? So Samuel's recapping all the judges that have helped them out. But when you saw that Nahash, king of the Ammonites, was moving against you, you said to me, No, we want a king to rule over us, even though the Lord your God was your king. Now here is the king you have chosen, the one you asked for. See, the Lord has set a king over you. If you fear the Lord and serve and obey him, and do not rebel against his commands, and if both you and the king who reigns over you follow the Lord your God, good. But if you do not obey the Lord, and if you rebel against his commands, his hand will be against you, as it was against your ancestors. So now Samuel's saying, if you disobey the Lord, if you turn back to false gods, right? If the king does it as well, right? Bad things are going to happen. Bad things. Verse 16. Now then, stand still and see this great thing the Lord is about to do before your eyes. It is not wheat harvest now. Is it not wheat harvest now? I will call on the Lord to send thunder and rain, and you will realize what an evil thing you did in the eyes of the Lord when you asked for a king. So what Samuel is doing is he's saying, stand here and watch this, because you're about to see God do a miracle, right? So in the notes down below, it says, Samuel calls the people to pay careful attention as the Lord himself demonstrates his existence and power and authenticates the truthfulness and seriousness of Samuel's words. So Samuel's like, stay here, listen, God's going to do something, and you're going to know it's really God, and you're going to know everything I'm saying is true, right? Verse 18, then Samuel called on the Lord, and that same day the Lord sent thunder and rain. So all the people stood in awe of the Lord and of Samuel. My guess is that if it's wheat harvest, that means that it's a time where it's really sunny and not meant to really rain at all. So that's why it was such an awe-inspiring thing, is that rain doesn't happen that time of year at all. So they were like, oh. All right, verse 19. The people all said to Samuel, pray to the Lord your God for your servants, so that we will not die, for we have added to all our other sins the evil of asking for a king. So now, because God did this, awe-filled wonder of thunder and rain in the sky, they're like, oh no, what did we just do? Please pray to God on our behalf, right, that we will not die because we asked for a king. So now they're like, oh, Holy Bama, which is a person in the Bible. They're now just realizing what they did. And then here's Samuel's reply, verse 20. Do not be afraid, Samuel replied. You have done all this evil, yet do not turn away from the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart. Do not turn away after useless idols. They can do you no good, nor can they rescue you, because they are useless. For the sake of his great name, the Lord will not reject his people, because the Lord was pleased to make you his own. So God's saying that he's not going to reject, right, his people. The king is not going to be the greatest, right, because they're asking for somebody else to be in charge of them. But God said, or Samuel's saying, don't turn away from God, right? And then Samuel says he's not going to reject his people, even though they're buttheads, right? And it says, because the Lord was pleased to make you his own. So even though we are awful human beings, at the same time, we are still God. Like, he calls us his own. We are still God's, and he calls us his own. And there's got to be something comforting about knowing that God has chosen us, right? Even though we totally don't deserve it, because we're buttheads too, right? But he loves us, and we should make it our life goal in turn to love and honor and obey him. Verse 23, as for me, far be it from me that I should sin against the Lord by failing to pray for you. And I will teach you the way that is good and right. But be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. Consider what great things he has done for you. Yet if you persist in doing evil, both you and your king will perish. Right? And if you guys know anything about Saul, we know things don't turn out well for him later on, which means he did evil, which means the people did evil, and they were warned that if that happened, then God would allow evil to happen to them, allow them to be oppressed, right? So I want to read to you again what it says that God's people are supposed to do. Okay, so this is a reminder for us too, right? To fear the Lord means to respect him, right? Honor him, and serve him faithfully with all your heart. And this one I want you guys to think of even this week. It says, consider what great things he has done for you. And if you're like, oh, I can't think of anything he's done for me that's been great, my life is awful. Your life is not awful. You still have breath in your lungs, okay? You woke up today. Your life is not awful, all right? So I want you to think of the great things that God has done in your life, because there are many. Love you guys.